Good evening and welcome to the June 21st, 2023 Hanson Economic Development Committee meeting. We are recording this for posterity and for providing to Whitman Hanson Community Access Television. It's approximately 6:45 and okay. I would like to announce for all of those in attendance that this meeting is being recorded for distribution on Whitman Hanson Community Access. Playback times and other related information on this recording can be found at whca.tv. Okay, calling to the meeting to order at 6:46. And on our agenda this evening is a meeting with Frank Melissi, who is appropriately, as a member of Camp Kiwanee, camping. So we're moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is meet with Kurt Tarvis. Kurt cannot be here, but we have got Jack, whose name I'm going to kill, Sidlakis, with us representing the Hanson Historic Commission. And we had asked Kurt Tarvis to meet with us because as part of the Economic Development Committee, we're trying to think about what things in town do we have that are unique, that would attract people to town, that might cause people to want to linger and then perhaps go out to dinner or spend money, get gas, whatever, but in short, spend money. In Hanson, and one of the things, of course, that has come up is the Bonnie House, the thought of that possible little historic village that's been discussed a lot, perhaps some work that might be done in the nurses' quarters. Also, of course, we can't speak about that area without talking about the High Street Park, which I know you're not on that committee, but they're doing a lot of good work up there. And so we just thought, if you could give us the lay of the land of what are you guys working on, how can we be supportive, and all of that would be helpful.
Okay. Greeting members of the committee. I'm here representing the current status of the historic Bonnie House on behalf of the Historical Commission. The Society has about 10 to 12,000 in allocated money to begin work and around 100,000 in earmarked funds from the Commonwealth. I have seen the plans for what the Society wants, such as demolishing the dividing wall from the first floor bathroom, creating a larger space for the meeting, and adding a more historically accurate layout, and making the most backside of the archive room, the two frontmost sitting room and parlor to be museum exhibits, and having the upstairs reserved for additional storage and caretaker suite. The house is structurally sound. A slight leakage spot was found a week ago, but is being dealt with. A chimney cap is being ordered. The exterior was reshingled by South Shore Boat Check a few years ago. There are 22 windows on the first floor and 7 windows on the second floor that are secured by plywood covering installed shortly after the Bonnie House was broken into. 3 windows on the second floor are unboarded but are unbroken with storm windows. 2 door locks are going to be replaced, possibly new security system and cameras will be installed. Main door secured with keyed access. The front door and side doors are locked and secured. 10 windows are planned to be replaced on the first floor, backmost section, in a strategic manner so that the overall design of the house is not altered. 10 windows on the first floor, frontmost of the house, are planned to be put back together and set in place. Since the bottom sashes were removed, most likely in 2007 when a majority of the house was being cleaned up, the bottom sashes were stored upstairs in a closet and were undamaged. The 7 out of 10 windows on the second floor have the glass broken, but the sash is in decent condition, so they can be stripped and have new glass set and reglazed.
That's good news.
12 storm windows are intact, but removed from the house. 12 storms are broken, and they were sent away recently to be restored. 14 miscellaneous historic doors are stored in different rooms. 6 new exterior doors are in the back. All interior doors have been removed besides 3 upstairs bedroom and bathroom doors. The middle section of the home still has the ceiling open with no flooring. They recently did woodwork in there. New plumbing will need to be installed. Currently no running water, toilets, showers, and sinks are not installed / connected. Electrical work is underway, but still no electrical connections besides the meter next door on the lawn. Heating and cooling are being planned, but not much has been spoken about it. The boiler, encased with asbestos insulation, has not been removed. The basement is a bit damp. A new bulkhead will need to be made. Current one is not existent, with just a pile of wood on top.
Oh boy.
And
Okay.
plans to repair fallen lap and plaster only on spots needing to be filled or sagging areas will be removed and replaced by said contractor. Solar lights may be provided for exterior use, and the construction estimation excluding caretaker suite is $345,011 by Page Building Construction Co., many of which was unneeded construction such as tiling, re-roofing, and re-siding of the exterior, which is already finished.
Okay, so you've got $100,000 in grant money.
Yes.
Was $100,000 fully for Bonnie House?
No, there was 170,000. It was Bonnie House, the Boardwalk, and the High Street, the Plymouth County Hospital site.
Okay,
So
I just want to make sure that I don't want Kurt and the commission to think that they've got 100,000 if they've only got 1/3 of that.
if they're going to fight over it, then yeah. Or if you want to be fair, it's just a third each.
Or to me, it's just like make a each respective project. We should come up with estimates, which it seems like these guys have got, and then just make a compelling argument. And I think there's a little bit for everybody, but it's obviously not going to be everything for everybody. So
And you should base it on needs.
yeah,
So I'm sorry, what was the third thing? High Street, Bonnie House, and
The Boardwalk.
the boardwalk, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I just had a couple of questions. if I may.
yeah.
On that, let's see. So I understand the 100,000 possibly divided into three. Was there any sort of like a settlement or something that
There
came
was
about?
a discussion in the last meeting that we had to evenly distribute all three through the Bonnie House, the nurses' quarters, and the park. But that wasn't really, it was a little bit of a gray area.
Gotcha,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, was there any sort of like insurance or settlement or anything like that? No.
No.
That's too bad. Okay. And did you mention asbestos insulation? Did you mention something
In the
about that?
old boiler in the basement, there is asbestos insulation on the piping.
Okay, gotcha. That might be.
But it's not.
That's,
It
It's
hasn't
still
been
encased.
released. It's still okay.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, encapsulated
Yeah,
or whatever.
so that's remediation
Um,
when it comes time for that.
Okay, and so if you think about like the immediate next steps, like it sounds to me like the windows are the obvious and most compelling next step,
Yes.
and already underway. And then what's your second step after the windows?
Probably, they're gonna have a lot of demolition in the main house, and then probably a lot of like carpentry work, such as installing new electrical, getting probably a new heater in there, and cooling, and just a lot of miscellaneous stuff like plumbing, which is a big issue because there's currently no plumbing in the house.
So have you guys got sort of like a project plan? And if so, great. You don't have to share it with us. But what I want to make sure is that if you have got a project plan and then associated timelines and costs with those, I want to make sure that the funding is there and that you guys are working with Lisa Green to make sure that the grant money and then any other, if we've got town meeting articles that we already voted to allocate money for, that type of stuff, that we're just ticking and tying all of those things, because I wouldn't want you guys to spend money that we don't have, or or get disappointed that we can't do something. I think ultimately we can probably address all of those things that you've talked about. It's just a matter of priorities, and then maybe seeking grant money and seeking donations and labor, maybe people that are willing to pitch in, type of thing. So that's great. So if you had to guess a timeline from now to when this would be, let's say, like ready for the public to walk in there, are we talking 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
I would say 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
It depends on how much is being spent.
Okay. And the nurses' quarters did you really get into the nurses' quarters? No.
Not really.
So the focus right now is really Bonnie House.
Yes.
Okay. And then separate and aside, I think the nurses' quarters, which I don't think is nearly needs as much remedial work as Bonnie House. It's functionally, structurally pretty good. It just needs a little TLC, maybe some ADA compliance type of things and that type of stuff. I know Kurt had contemplated that, but I think it's good to maybe narrow the focus to be, on to be on the Bonnie House. So that's good. Are you guys thinking about applying for grants or asking the Historical Society to kind of see what they could do?
It's pretty much a little bit of both.
Okay.
We weren't really too finite on final answers because there were few things that we were a little confused on. But I think most of it will be settled in the next few weeks.
Okay. Is there anything we can help you with, or?
There was just one thing. It was we are looking for local businesses to donate in any possible capacity, be it funds, materials, labor, etc. And we are looking for any guidance that the EDC may have to provide us.
So, okay. So as far as the businesses donating, you can definitely do that. If you receive donations, anything donated to the town has to come before the Board of Selectmen and be accepted as a gift to the town. So that's that. However, you've got the opportunity of having a 501c3 through the society, which is not the commission, but very closely affiliated, usually many of the same members, if not all, like complete reciprocity there, of the commission. You've got the ability for people to donate to the 501c3 society and potentially have a tax write-off as a business in the way of an advertisement for their business. So people may prefer to go that route, but that's really up to you guys how you channel it. You'd have to work with the society and make sure that what they get that's raised on behalf of the Bonnie House that you guys would get. You may also want to work with them on a fundraising campaign because I think a lot of times when people are giving to something or they're donating, it's one thing to say in the abstract, I'm donating to historical preservation in town. It's a different thing to say, I know my money's going specifically to the Bonnie House, and I'm going to watch that progress, and now I've got ownership of that. I feel like I'm involved in that project because I gave money to it, and now all of a sudden you've got like many more invested stakeholders than you had with your little well-intentioned, tail and hardy, historic commission. So you guys can approach it any way that you want. One thing you might want to think about, tonight we're going to talk about the Hanson Day, which will be sometime in September. Might be a good idea for you guys to put together a little table about the Bonnie House, about what type of shape it's in right now and what your plans are for it. And you could even put some signage that you're looking for businesses to partner with you. You're looking for people to donate time, money, help you guys in whatever way that they can. It would be a great showcase for you guys. So you can, noodle that and get back to us and let us know if you'd be interested in it. Ken, anything?
Yeah, the only question that I had, first of all, thank you to the Historical Commission because that was very in-depth. I appreciate that. But also, do we have any timelines about the delivery of the funding from the state? Do we, so that they can have an understanding of, wherever this money's going to be doled up, like when they can start work, when they can expect that help, or when we know it's going to come, anything like that?
Do you know that, Tony?
Well, the earmark is already in place. It's just a matter of applying for it, which you could talk to the town administrator.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
On that.
Yeah. So the money's there. Like it's already passed all the way through, so we know it's there. It's a matter of working with Lisa to to get that money for them. But it will be a reimbursement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Kurt is very familiar with Lisa Green, and you will be too. She's our procurement officer, so she's the one who just makes sure that everything that we're doing is the way that it needs to be done so that we don't run into any problems. Should be another good one to pass your question by in terms of funding, whether it should be society or commission, and how do people express that they want to donate things and what the process is. So, did you have anything else, Kevin?
I would just really encourage when you're trying to think of like fundraisers to really think outside the box, because what I thought of right away was if there was any way to put like a reclaimed like brick pathway somewhere and some sort of engraving of the businesses
I love it.
that donated, something like that. I think that people feel like they're really part of the project because they can see their name as part of the project physically rather than just on a piece of paper or somewhere in the newspaper or something. Because I think business owners want to see a little bit more return of advertising. It doesn't have to be a huge flashy sign, but just something to show appreciation that they did donate towards a historical project in the town like the Bonnie House. So hopefully that spurs some creativity.
Do you know if there's any timbers or anything there? Like when you guys go and gut and do some of this work, are you going to have any leftover aged timbers? I asked this for a very specific question. I happened to go to this vintage market on Father's Day in Plimpton, and one of the guys there, I think it's the name of the company is 1770. Anyway, it's super interesting business model. He and his brother are teachers. He bought a house down in Marshfield that was built in 1770, and when they were redoing some of the house, he took some of the beams and made some lamps for himself out of them. And then now what he does is he takes clapboards, whatever kind of reclaimed wood could come from a piece of property, and he will put a picture of that property. So like if you're putting an addition on, you bought a really old house, he'll take a piece of that that wood. He can make a clipboard from it that you can put up on your refrigerator. He can do lamps. He does clocks. He does all of these amazing things. And the reason I mention this is that's something that somebody would be willing to buy. If you somehow had a piece of Bonnie House that you were able to make into some little thing, like whatever it is that somebody could use, a frame, a picture frame, I think that would be an amazing fundraiser. And I love your idea of the walkway because that's something people really do love to have, know that like maybe somebody passed away and they can have a little brick memorializing somebody, or a business. I mean, the Economic Development Committee would love to help you guys with fundraising ideas, and and I personally would love to help you. I love fundraising; it's my jam. So, let me know as you guys start to kind of get closer to needing to do that, and then we can take it from there. Tony, anything on that?
I was just wondering if you had discussed any, as the chair had asked, construction plans. In other words, have you looked at the Bonnie House and said, okay, how are we going to address the plumbing and the septic and all that? Have you looked at that? Have you had any discussions about that?
There was I looked through by the company mostly just for the carpentry work.
Okay.
But I don't know if any of those have been evaluated recently.
I can help you out with that type of information if you have.
That'd be awesome. Thanks.
And I also think our building inspector would be a good resource, and you're going to need to work with him because he's going to need to sign off on the work that's done there anyway. Mm-hmm. So I think you've got a 1-2 punch here, dynamic duo with Tony and Kerry. I think leverage them to whatever extent possible. I think you'll find everybody at Town Hall will be very supportive of this effort because honestly, if you think about it, it's kind of the pinnacle of High Street, right? It's like right there. It's a little jewel right next to, the Plymouth County nurses' quarters, the 4-H and all of that. So I think everybody would love to see that looking spiffy and in prime condition again. So we own it, so we ought to take care of it. So, I assume perhaps some of the money for this would come from community preservation. Is that something you guys have discussed? Because it is historic restoration. Mm-hmm. So it definitely, as long as you're staying within the Department of Interior standards, then it would be eligible for community preservation. of course, that doesn't, there's a process you have to go through, which I think Kurt's familiar with. And certainly Teresa Santalucia, who's on community preservation, is familiar with it. You put in a pre-application, they kind of kick the tires and say, yes, this would seem to fit the criteria of Community Preservation Act. And then you do a more comprehensive deep dive, and you come up with a very detailed project plan. And then if they support it, then it will go to town meeting and they will request money from community preservation money. And the beauty of that is that money can only be used for certain things. Historic restoration, preservation is one of them, open space, housing. So there's very limited use. It can't be used to, solve our budget deficit. We can't touch it for that. It's sort of sacrosanct. It's got very specific earmarks for it. The Hanson historic bucket, because that's how it's kind of parsed out, hasn't really been tapped into that much. And there's even a more general bucket that can be used for all of those different, uses. And they have a fairly significant amount of money there. And I know Plymouth County Hospital has always been one of the areas that they've wanted to use that money for. So, again, you'd want to reach out to the Community Preservation Committee through Teresa's your designee. Alan's also on Community Preservation, so they both are very familiar with, and Tom Hickey is too. So half the Community Preservation Committee is actually on your committee. So I'm sure they can help you with that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, one more question. Is the Bonnie House covered under our umbrella insurance?
It is
The town?
going forward. It was
is
not.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do have the protection going forward.
Going
if anything
forward,
were to happen.
yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's good.
But it was not. That was, it apparently was never under our insurance policy. And we found out the hard way.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Historically, it never was, but now it is. So, all right. Well, thanks for pitch hitting. Nice to see you again, and thanks for stepping up. It's always nice to have somebody new in the mix. We love our oldies, but we like the new guys too because we need a mixture of folks stepping up. So have your people call our people. Keep in touch, and like I said, we're just a call away. Kurt knows most of the players, so I'm sure you guys can partner together and get that done.
Oh, yes, of course.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. All right, well, that's awesome. And then, Tony, we had discussed Hanson Economic Development Plan prepared in 2019 by FXM Associates.
Yes, so I spoke on the phone with Mr. Frank Mahady, who prepared the report for the committee in the town. And he was very excited actually to hear from Hanson. He said, it's been a long time since it did work in Hanson and good to hear from you. And he has no issues in updating giving us a proposal for updating that report. One thing he asked was if the committee could consider, say, documenting 10 things or 10 items that if you look at that report today, what would you like to see? What would be the new things that you'd like done?
Okay, all right.
So if you can
Maybe for our next meeting.
read through that, and
Okay.
either for the next meeting, we can put it on the list to discuss. Or if you do put a list together, you want to email it to me. It's at the committee's pleasure.
And you sent that around to everybody, right? The FXM?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you mind resending it and just for because we've got people that aren't here tonight and they won't know that that's our to-do. Just ask that people take a look at that and maybe think about giving a deadline for that, just to kind of keep us on point. That would be great. Any questions about that, Ken or Kevin?
No.
Okay.
All good.
All right, awesome. One-stop grant status, Mr. DeFrias.
So the deadline for the one-stop grants was June the 2nd. All 5 grants were submitted prior to June 2nd, the last one being on June 2nd, actually. So all 5 are in, and they total just over $2 million in requests for grant monies. The largest being $1 million grant for the buildings on High Street that house the food pantry, beekeepers, and the front building. So because of the cost, the grant, I had to shift the grant instead of going for both buildings to the front building.
That makes sense.
Which
Yep.
needs the most work.
Mm-hmm.
I had received a proposal from an architect, just very preliminary, but they established with the information they had with photographs and so forth, that both of those buildings, to bring them up to, let's say, 2023 standards, would probably be around $4 million. So looking also at the budget that was provided to us by an outside consultant as part of the grant application, just the front building alone is $1 million.
Okay.
To get it. So I figured that's what we'll chase, is the front building.
Yep.
And hopefully if we can get that building going, and then we'll go after the second building. The second building's in much better shape.
The
It's
second building's
occupied.
already, it's already occupied. It's already, the tenants in that building already know what they're dealing with, and to some extent, the food pantry thinks of it as their responsibility to, obviously they're not going to change the architecture, but to maintain and
When I was there, you could see that the in the basement that on the floor had been reinforced to carry the extra
Yes.
load
Yep.
that's above. And my understanding, don't hold me to this, but my understanding from what I've heard, that they may be pursuing a grant for improvements to their space. So if that's the case, then I figured, that front building is the one that's in dire need. Let's go after that and see what we can do.
Yeah, I think honestly that's the untapped potential of that building, is the front portion. We're already really fully utilizing that back building. Even the Plymouth County beekeeper space, they've made significant improvements. Again, is it what we would do if we were, to wave a magic wand? Is it up to, no, but they've made wonderful use of that space, and so has the food pantry. So that front portion is the portion that, is got the opportunity to maybe temporarily house the museum while they're working on the Bonnie House. Maybe we could lease some of the offices out. That's the part.
It
Yeah,
could be meeting space,
Yes.
conference space,
Yep.
office space.
offices
town
for
hall,
yeah,
town hall.
exactly. Yeah,
Then one of the other grants is for, let's say, development of the piece on West Washington Street that's adjacent to the industrial park and adjacent to the water department. So that grant, I believe, was about $100,000, and that would be to hire a consultant to establish the resource areas, come up with a plan that shows the resource areas, the topography, maybe a preliminary layout to see what could be used, or what could go in there. Would it be good for one business? Could we put in a road and do a small business park? So those are the two main ones that I'm, hopefully, they're all important, but those two. Are
but
the
now
ones
for that one, so if we get that and we get all of the information that you, just articulated, I think where we're at is we want to try to kind of get all of the approvals in hand if we're going to sell it, or if we're going to use, basically get it so that it's ready to be sold. We may end up ultimately keeping it, but but if we sell it, we want to have all those permits and
right. And I think in this grant, with the way it's written, that's the whole idea.
Okay.
Is to get something on paper so that at least you have something to show.
Yeah.
And to potential, if the town decided to sell it on, then there's something on file that says, okay, here's where the wetlands are,
Yep.
here's where the uplands are, here's the topography, here's what you're up against, maybe some percolation tests, here's what the soils are. So they have something to go by, and it would assist the town in, let's say, the value of the property.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great. Any questions about that, guys? Ken? I hope we didn't lose Ken. Ken, are you there?
Not me, sorry, I dropped you. All good.
Okay, all right, awesome. Any questions, Kev?
Sorry, wait, I did actually have one thing. It's just, so if we turned in on June 2nd, when do we get an answer back about awards?
We'll hear about awards in the fall. So now it's gone to the review stage, and so we won't hear anything until the fall, which is the same as they did last year. So about the end of the year, we'll know. If we do get any of the grants, they'll notify us via letter, and then we can't disclose it until they make the announcements.
Okay. All right, we'll get ready. Yeah. What were you saying, Ken?
And then, does that make funds available January 1, or is that at a later date?
Once the grant is awarded, then they go through the process of preparing the contracts, and usually after January 1, I believe that the monies will start to become available, so then we can start moving. And we start after putting the pieces in place.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
Well, we're looking forward to those photo ops, Tony, with the big check for $1 million in front of the nurses' quarters. Next item is discuss creation of outreach video through Whitman Hanson Cable Access.
So I reached out to Eric Dresser regarding the creation, let's say, of videos, and so he responded via email, and he says this was on June 14th, 1:03 p.m. Hey Tony, we can definitely help with this project. If you're feeling creative, you can start to plan out the message/storyboard, perhaps WHCA's program application. While not required for your purpose, would be a helpful tool. Especially see the bottom of the page 1 about description and objective, then all of page 3, a basic storyboard outline template. This can be printed as many times as needed for planning purposes. I will work on assigning a WHCA staff member to work with you on this. While they may not know the ins and outs of the Economic Development Committee, they are extremely creative and good at helping get an idea out of the mind and onto the screen. Let me know if you have any timeline in mind, and I will look at who on our staff has the best availability, capacity to help you with that time frame. Aside from that, we will also want to think about who exactly will be part of the project, who are the various speakers in the video, who will have to coordinate message creations, filming, etc. We look forward to working with you on this. And there was another gentleman, his name escapes me at the moment, who contacted me that has been assigned. So they sent over a program application form, which I sent off to the members. Look it over. I'm going to fill it out, and I'll send it to you. I'll fill out what I can, and we sort of have to come up with, what do we want to see.
Okay.
So I think that would be your homework, is to, think about what would you like to do, and take a look at the application yourselves as well. And if you have any questions, that I can reach out to Eric, and we can get this put together and get that moving.
Well, as a preliminary matter, I think we had discussed just having a brief little almost PSA about we have an economic development committee and this is what we do. And I think a lot of what we say in that letter that we're going to send out to the businesses is probably what we kind of want to say in the PSA. And prior to this meeting, I had a TIF meeting, so the tax incentive meeting, and one of the things that we're looking at there is trying to figure out how do we get the message out to businesses in that economic development area along Main Street, pretty much between Elm and High, that we would be willing to entertain letters of interest from businesses along there that might benefit from a deferral in their taxes in exchange for them making a firm commitment to bring up the exterior and interior of their business so that we're rowing in the same direction here, and they're helping us and we're helping them improve Main Street. And a couple of different locations were brought up in that TIF meeting, but we'll kind of wait on that to get into more detail. Lisa is going to reach out to Kate Federoff, our town council, because we had some questions about whether we put a general notification in the newspaper saying we're entertaining, if you have a business in this specific area that we've targeted as an economic development area, we will entertain a letter of interest from you for a TIF. And then are we able to specifically go to some businesses along there who we think appear to need a little bit of help, but maybe shy or unaware or not reading the newspaper? Are we able to approach them individually? So Lisa's got a little homework to do, and once she gets those answers, I'll bring it back to you guys, and the TIF committee will meet. The good news is we've got the TIF guidelines, we have a TIF application, and we actually went through a dry run that was a bit of a failed experiment with one applicant. And so we kind of know what we need to do, but we've got to brush the cobwebs off and just make sure everything that we did back in 2019 is still valid now. So anyway, hopefully that all made sense. But do you guys agree that like our first PSA should really be like, we're an economic development committee and here's the resources that we can help you with. We have a TIF. We have a little how to open a business in Hanson. You can come and talk to us and if you're opening a business, and you can also talk to the town clerk, the board of assessors, like et cetera, et cetera. Do you guys agree that would be our first and then from there I don't know what you want to do. If we want to interview businesses, highlight some businesses, have a round table discussion about what some of our plans are that we're working on to try to stimulate, economic development in that area. I don't know. We can brainstorm on that, I guess, at the next meeting. But do you guys have any thoughts? Or
the application might help you with that as well. You want to be the producer? Would you like to be the producer, Madam Chair?
I do not want to be the producer. No.
But you have program title, program description, its objective, and then what type: documentary, religious, educational.
Yep.
Interview, government. What type of format? Studio, on location, clip show. How frequently will you need it? Studio usage, editing facilities, portable equipment. And what type of material you want to put in there. So it does give you. It might help you if you look at the application.
Yeah.
It might give you some ideas.
Yeah.
And
Okay, that's helpful. Does anybody have a burning desire to take a lead on this? Now, I'm going to make a little bit of a pitch. I'm going to make a pitch, Mr. Cohen, and here's my pitch. It would be an excellent homeschool type of project to have somebody be filming something and see the labor of their, the efforts from their labor be put up on community access television. But I will leave that to you to discuss with the with your co-captain.
Yeah.
so, are you making a motion to make Kevin Cohen?
I'm making a motion for him to consider it. How's
I'll
that for
consider- I'll
diplomatic?
consider it.
Okay. Ken, do you have any interest in this? I know you have a lot of experience with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm happy to fill in wherever you want me. I mean, yeah, we did. I've been on all the local, community access in a few different towns, and I've led some discussions with customers for my current job now on camera. So yeah, whatever we think is best. To go back to your other point, I think we can do these simultaneously. I kind of see, if we get a staff member that we're getting along with well, they can kind of see the grander image that we're doing. So I could definitely see, even if they want us to break it out into two applications, or whichever way we denote it, like, yes, we need a 60-second or 90-second PSA, and then here's our storyboard of what we want to do going on. And I agree, Tony, that looking at the application will kind of spur some ideas, because I think there's, 20 different ways we could go about it, whether it is interviewing or sitting down and, going on site to businesses, new businesses, old businesses, anything that's going on in town or ones that are particularly noteworthy. So yeah, I think there's a lot we can do. And like I said, I am not camera shy, so I'm happy to do whatever you want. Like, it's just with work, travel, and everything, what the time commitment will be. But
Yeah.
I'm happy to go on and do it.
Well, I think we can really try to work around people's availability. I mean, maybe think about again whether you guys might be willing to kind of share this type of little effort here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be easier if we have more hands working on it. Also,
You can
do you
take
think
it.
we could-
We'll take it under advisement. You don't have to commit
Oh yeah.
now.
And also, do you think we could reach out to someone like Kevin Tachi or someone like that does a lot of
Who
these
do
kinda
you
like
know who he gave
spotlights?
us? Do you know the name of the person? You don't know?
Not off the top of my head, but I do have his email.
Okay.
So,
Okay, somebody that-
so I can't. I'm sorry. I can get his name.
But we do have. He
Yeah.
assigned us a staff member.
Oh, okay.
So
alright.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So you guys will take that under advisement and let me know at the next meeting whether that's something that you feel like you could.
Yeah,
make a
I can
commitment to.
chat with you too, Ken.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I can do is I'll find his the contact that he gave us, and I can email it to you, Kevin.
Okay, great.
And if you have any questions, we can also just coordinate.
Okay. And set date for Hanson Day. So, I mean, in looking at the calendar and like where we've typically done it, the last couple of times we did it, is usually like the date would be September 16th. The initial date would be September 16th, which is a Saturday. Hanson Town Hall Green, and then we always have to have a rain date, which would be the following Saturday, the 23rd. Does anybody have any objections to those 2 days, or?
I'm okay with it. Is there any holidays we have to worry about?
It's a valid question. There's a it's an Islamic holiday. It's not Rosh Hashanah. It's something else. On the 16th. Should we avoid it?
I wouldn't think that would be a problem for a town like Hanson, but I mean, is it like a fasting holiday? Or?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I have people that are in my life that are Islamic, and I don't think it's anything that is like a high holiday. But I wouldn't pretend to know that. Let me just look it up here. Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was. It was on my calendar at home, and now I can't find it.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. I think the 9th might be a little too close to the beginning of school.
That's
year,
why
right?
we kind of avoided that. Yeah.
And September 30th is getting a little bit late. What do you think?
Yeah.
Ken?
What do you think about those dates?
Yeah, I'm fine with those dates. I do happen to know that on the 16th I'll be out of state for a wedding, so I would very tragically miss my first one in many years. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to help beforehand, prep stuff. But yeah, I just know I'll be out of town the 16th. But I don't see any reason why any other holiday would interfere with it if that's what ends up being the best day.
Okay. All right. So then I guess I will entertain a motion to have it be the 16th with the rain date of the 23rd.
I'll move that motion.
Ken, did you want a
Second.
second? Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
Okay,
the
cool.
date was 9/16.
9/16 with the rain date of the 23rd. And then on our agenda, we've got approve the outreach letter. Ken, did you have a chance to take a look at that?
It just had edits from last week, right?
Yeah, it's the same with just few little tweaks. Yeah, it's just.
Actually,
No, she didn't make any changes. Yeah. No, she didn't end up making any changes. We asked her to look at it, but she didn't have any changes. which I thought was pretty high praise actually from her, because I figured she'd be,
I thought
I was
you
like,
would-
she's gonna tear this apart.
That's what I
you know?
figured.
So it's good that a communications expert thought our letter was sufficient. All right, so yeah, so it's the same letter. Do I hear an,
Yeah, I'll make a
motion
motion to approve the Economic Development Committee outreach letter.
and to empower Mr. DeFries to send it out?
So moved.
Okay, Mr.
Second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye,
Aye.
great. All right.
The minutes of May 24th.
Now, next meeting to be determined. Do we want to skip July? Where are people at? I don't know. I mean, I know it gets tricky in the summertime trying to, but I feel like we're gonna keep it going, but I don't want to be a taskmaster. What are your thoughts? Skip July and just meet in August, or
I would prefer to meet, especially with one or two big agenda items on. Like we're going to send this letter out and talk about the community access. Get that ball rolling. Like they've taken the time to assign something to us. I could do the bit meet, even if it's brief.
Okay, all right, I'm down with that. So it looks to me like the next meeting would be July 19th then? Is that gonna be okay for everybody?
I'm okay with that.
Is that okay for you, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I will entertain a motion to set the next meeting for July 19th.
Was Ken okay with that? First?
Are you okay with that, Ken?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up. I'm just looking at my calendar right now. So just give me 1 second. I hear they highly never mind. No jokes. We're being recorded. Just kidding.
Okay. I think we're picking up what you're putting down. All right, so let us know if that 19th works for you.
Would other dates work for anybody as well? Like the 26th or no?
Is that okay with you?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we could. Tony, are you okay with the 26th?
Yes.
Yeah, we could make that work.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm working in the city until 9 or 8 on the 19th, so I don't think that would work.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to set the next meeting date for July 26th. Somebody
Right,
gonna
so
make that
moved.
motion? Okay.
I wasn't
All right,
sure if
did you
Ken
want to
wanted to make
second that, Ken?
Yeah, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next is the meeting minutes from May 24th.
Yep. And next is to approve our, did we have that on there? Yeah, sorry, I skipped right over it because we had Jack here. Approve meeting minutes from May 24th, 2023. Did anybody have any concerns or questions? Okay, then I will entertain that motion.
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 24th, 2023.
Mr. Sweezy, did you? Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then
Ken, can you just say aye?
Aye.
Okay, great.
and then could I also make a motion to move the reorganization to the next meeting as well?
Did we kick the
did
reorganization
to
down
this
the
meeting,
okay, how many?
We might want to, I don't know.
Yeah, it should be on for the next meeting because it was after July. I have it written down.
That's true. Okay, that's true.
Yeah, the way the general bylaw reads, it's after July.
Do you guys want to kick the reorganization down the road, or?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of wondering if we lost interest on any other members.
I
or,
have
you know.
asked of
Yeah.
one person, but I have, so I'm not sure.
Well, you have to reorganize after this certain date. I mean, it's in the
We-
general bylaw.
It's supposed to be the first meeting after the, so for us, it's the first meeting after July 1st.
Correct.
So we have to reorganize by then.
Correct.
So if you don't mind just popping that on the agenda.
Yep.
That'll be good.
So next meeting we would have
Yep.
to reorganize
Yep.
that? Okay, so
Yep.
I made a motion to reorganize at the next meeting. At the next meeting.
I don't even
on-
think, we can make
You
a
don't need to?
motion, but
Okay.
we'll just put it on the agenda.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright, sounds good.
Okay, anything else that anybody wants to talk about at our next meeting, or that they had questions about Tony, follow up on anything, or?
Let's see. We need to, well, we do need to start talking about Hanson Day more now that we have a date for
Yes, we
that,
do.
So we'll have,
I will, Tony, do you mind sending a note to Lynn and Lisa to ask them to put the select board's approval of Hanson Day on the agenda?
You mean the EDC's approval of Hanson Day?
No, because the select board has to approve. So we
Okay.
voted on it,
Okay.
but then because it's use of town hall property, select board has to approve our use of it for
So
Hanson Day.
Send the note to them to put on the agenda.
Yeah, if they could pop it on the agenda for the select board to approve it. I can't imagine anybody's gonna have a problem with it, but we do need to go through the motions. And then, and in advance of that, well, hopefully we'll be able to get it on the agenda for next Tuesday. I know Lynn posted the agenda, but she can tweak it. It's not anything wildly controversial that she could add that on there. And then we'll start advertising, because I want to get a save the date out there for people. So we'll start that.
I've sent an email to the town accountant regarding the $1,500 that was
Yes.
appropriated to the Economic Development Committee to set up an account.
Okay.
So basically set up a budget, an account, a budget, so to give me access through SoftWrite. So if you have any expenditures, then I can create
Well, let's see how much that also, do we think that some of the other earmarked money that we got from Cutler and other various we had there was $10,000 and some other little amounts. Is that money we could use for the FXM freshen up exercise?
I talked to Lisa, and I think she was trying to figure out that money, and so I'll check in with her on that.
Okay.
Because you had the $1,500, and then there was that additional money. So if that additional money is available to the EDC for their use, then I'll have that thrown in through the town accountant as part of the account.
Okay.
So at least that way, if you incur any invoices, I can bring you the warrants to pay the invoices.
I don't think should be that expensive. I don't think we paid more than $10,000 for that original piece. So to freshen it up, oh boy, okay.
He remembers, I think it was around 30,000.
I do not think that is accurate.
So
I'm gonna have to.
I wasn't
yeah.
here, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh boy, I think he might be misremembering, but we'll go back and look. I'm sure I've got the records of that. All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before-
Oh, I'm sorry.
One other thing.
Wait a minute.
So on the outreach letter, do you want me to start putting that together and sending it to the businesses that are on that list?
Yes,
Okay.
we did say that in the motion that we made.
Okay.
We didn't specifically say to the businesses on the list. We said we would empower you to send it out to the businesses.
Okay. So
Yes,
get them out.
yes.
Okay. So
Yep.
I can put our admin on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Anything else, Kev?
And then with any responses, you'll let us know who's responding, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like me to add anything to the letter that says, if you'd like to respond?
I guess I kind of assumed that
I mean,
some people will start to reach out and hopefully meet with us.
I mean, who should we have them reach out? Well, we've got our email up
the
there.
email's up there.
We've got our
Okay,
email
Yeah,
up
I mean,
there.
yes,
Okay.
definitely. If I hear anything back from anyone, I will definitely pass it along to the committee.
Yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
perfect.
Now that I'm looking at that email, do I have access to that email? Who has access to that email? Can we check with Steve
I'll
on that?
double check with Steve. I know he's on vacation this week, but I'll double check with him on that. I know I got that from. Who did I get that from? I know know someone, I didn't just make that up, I know that we got that
No,
from
no,
somewhere.
it's definitely
It was
with,
definitely an email. I might
no,
have-
if it's a legit email,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering, that's great, we have the email, but who has access to it? Cause
Yeah.
I really don't think on our inaugural reach out to businesses, we're gonna want them emailing an email address that we don't even know who's got access to
Yeah,
it.
I'll shoot him an email, cause, he said he's available, I'll find out.
Okay.
I'll go back into my notes too.
I remember you guys saying that you didn't mind me opening up the emails, and I'm more than glad to do that, but I don't recall ever getting the credentials for this email.
Yeah, I have to check.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe, so if you could check on that before we send out the letter, that would be.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be awesome. Okay, all right, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Mr. Sweezy?
Second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, great. Thanks so much, Ken. Safe travels.